Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we're super happy to have you here. And if you've been listening and enjoying for a while, I would be super grateful if you would please take a moment to give us a review on Apple Podcasts. It's one of the best and simplest ways to pay it forward and help others find the show so that they too can tap into the powerful perspectives and positive vibrations we are collectively emanating. The other unique and magical way to share this show is by sending any friends you think would benefit from listening to this podcast our Game with the Universe link at positivehead.com/game. Also listed in the show notes, which will serve them up a quote-unquote random episode when they click it. Just instruct them before clicking the link to close their eyes for a moment and sincerely ask the universe to cue up the episode that contains the insight and perspectives that they most need to hear at this point in their life journey, and then click to listen to whatever episode is synchronistically served up to them. I have heard time and time again from people about the incredible results they received playing the game. So just tell your friends magical results are guaranteed or their karma back. All right, all you positive heads, welcome. Here we go again. It's a fabulous Friday here in the studio as I record, and I hope you're doing just fine out there and you are successfully orienting yourself to the infinite, as my former guest, Dr. Dawson Church, put so eloquently. Yeah, what a cool statement. Orient yourself to the infinite. Have you been orienting yourself to the infinite? Are you tapping into the infinite nature of yourself, of your greatest and greatest self? I did something the other day to sort of, as a little reminder, what does my infinite, most advanced, next level self look like? And something that I thought of, I've mentioned before in the show, my partner, Karen, is really into destiny cards, which are super cool. The Order of the Magi, she's going through like a deep training, 9-month training, through sort of a guy that's probably the most knowledgeable about the topic on the planet right now. And I've had Sharon Jeffers on before, who's written some books as well, and goes deep down the destiny cards path, if you will. But anyway, for those of you who've never heard about them, they're really cool. The 52 playing cards are originally a divination modality. So similar to astrology, actually based off planetary movements and so forth. But instead of astrology being 1 in 12, there's 1 in 52 cards. You have 52 cards in the deck, 52 weeks in the year, 4 suits, 4 seasons, 12 royals, 12 months in a year. If you add up all the cards and the jokers 1 1/4, they add up to 365 1/4. So yeah, it's a little more detailed, right? You're 1 in 52. I am a King of Hearts. And so I just recently I've been thinking in the last week, okay, I'm ready to step more into my king archetype, my next level version of who and what this avatar can become. And so I was like, what's a good way to remind myself of that? And so I decided to just put the King of Hearts as the backdrop on my phone, as an example, something little to constantly remind me every time I see it. And of course, I look at my phone a lot. Don't we all? My partner also just got a book, How to Break Up with Your Phone. I probably need that one to become more of my king self, ironically. But yeah, just, if you can have little things and do little things constantly to reorient yourself to the infinite. What is the infinite version of myself, the expanded version of myself? I had someone once tell me that they could see my higher self, and it's like this holding this light, and it's like it's like forever and ever and ever. It's this solid rock, this your source self, and in a sense, and just the concept of that is like so awe-inspiring and powerful. And how do I orient myself more to that version of myself? How do you orient yourself more to that version of yourself? And just always making, another thing that I've been doing a lot of is paying attention every time I have a thought that is small. And that probably doesn't sound too surprising on this podcast, right? It's all about the perspective shifting. And man, it's so ingrained in nuance to, for example, lots of costs for things. And I'm noticing this series of events is happening. I'm going to use finances as an example because it tweaks a lot of us out, right? A series of events is happening, a cycle that's happened before and would likely happen again, could happen again. You've seen it all before. When you start paying attention to these cycles, and it's like, and then, here comes my normal reaction to this cycle, this refractory, like, hold on, too much, cut this off, cut that off. Okay, gotta stop, can't afford that, or whatever the story is, where you cause refractory energy because you're seeing a similar pattern that invokes fear of loss, right? And what if you pay attention, like, I've been here before, I've seen this before, and what have I done all the times before? Retract, shut down. What if instead I said, how about, what does a king need? A king needs, what does a queen need? What is the ruler of their domain? What is my infinite self? What would they do? This is an opportunity to trust and create more expansion and know that, yes, I'm outlaying, in this example, resources that causes some level of stress due to the level of it. And there's only more behind it. And so instead of retracting like I've always done, I'm going to expand. Instead of saying the thing that is not in alignment with an infinitely abundant version of myself, I'm going to just sort of bite my tongue and change my thought and lean into the uncomfortable stretch. And anytime that I lean into the uncomfortable stretch, if you're paying attention, the same way you need to pay attention to even catch yourself doing any of this to begin with, any of this sort of like, here's an old pattern, here's an old cycle, same situation, same energetics, different face, different time, different, details perhaps, but otherwise same. And you, instead of going backwards, you keep pushing forward through it. Every time I do that, and then I pay attention to the fact that I did that, and then pay attention to the support or the extra abundance or the extra, thing, whatever it is that I'm at fear of losing, more comes behind it. Before we continue on with today's episode, for those of you interested in getting more fantastic fungi in your life, I want to take a quick moment to tell you about a friend of mine's brand new company, The Great Mother. Recently, I have been drinking the Great Mother's superfood mushroom coffee alternative called Ritual, as well as regularly taking their awesome Ally microdoses, and I am truly loving both. As you probably know, these days, many of the world's highest achievers and performers swear by microdosing. The problem is it can still be difficult to get a hold of magic mushrooms. That's why when my friend reached out, who lives in an area and country where legalization is not a problem like it was in the past, and said he'd be willing to offer microdoses to my listeners, I wanted to pass the word along. Ally microdoses are 100% organic. And in addition to a small amount of the magic active ingredient, they also contain functional mushrooms like lion's mane, cordyceps, chaga, and other brain boosters like bacopa. Ally is essentially a full spectrum nootropic. And of course, the coffee alternative Ritual doesn't contain magic mushrooms, but it has an array of the best organic functional mushrooms in the world. And, with functional mushrooms, it's really important to get them from the highest integrity sources. And whereas some other highly popular mushroom coffee alternatives on the market only contain a few varieties of functional mushrooms in their actual ingredients, Ritual has 7. Not only does it contain more types, it also contains 3 to 4 times the amount that the big brands have in each serving. and it tastes amazing. I actually like to have it on its own as well as mixing it into my coffee sometimes as well. However, since this is definitely a unique offering, there are a few steps. First, just reach out and request to follow the private page, The Great Mother on Instagram. Once you've been accepted to follow, just message what you're interested in getting and someone will get back to you. And so I think it's such an important thing for us to all constantly be assessing these cycles and where in your life are you seeing, once again, the particulars will be different, the time, the place, you're different in some ways, but the heart of the situation, the way it makes you feel, it's familiar. And instead of just unconsciously continuing to do those same things over and over and over again, you're like, I see this. What would I choose and do differently if I knew I had infinite energy, abundance, support, resources behind me? How would I behave differently? And lean into that and just take a moment and really feel into that and change the perspective. It's so powerful whenever an old pattern and thought and reactionary, feeling comes up. If you can stop, breathe, catch it, acknowledge it, thank it for serving you up to this point. Thank you. I've seen you so many times before, the same feeling. You've come up so many times before. And now I've gotten the medicine, right? I'm going to go ahead and release you. And I'm gonna go a different path and see what kind of results that gets. And then, of course, very important to keep your eyes, ears, heart open to see, what is there anything that comes left field that I didn't even expect that represents and is a reflection of that expanded choice. And then you start to realize this is the path to getting more. And for some people, it's funny because this is like all energetic. It's not like you've got to be super spiritual or not spiritual. Or, I think of my old business partner who wasn't in a spiritual mindset at all, all those years ago. And yet, currency flowed through him. It flowed, but it would always attract more and attract more because he had this feeling of, for wherever it came from. Maybe it's not in some of these people's cases, it's not even about them tapping in and orienting themselves to the infinite consciously, just however they're wired, right? It was subconsciously, I believe I have and can attain and there will be more. And so the universe responds to that. And so I think the important thing to do to shift the dynamic, if you've seen the same pattern over and over and over again, you've got to shift the way you're showing up every time that pattern presents itself. And if you shift yourself and choose a different, more expansive approach, even as pushing through the discomfort, because it's, that refractory instinct is super powerful. Of course, for especially if you've been doing it for a long time, it's habitual, right? But if you can really be aware, where are these cycles, where are these things reappearing in my life, and how can I do them differently that reflect me orienting myself to the infinite more profoundly and powerfully. And now, eyes open, ears open, watch how all of a sudden energy and support comes in to reflect that expansive choice. All right, well, that's my story. I'm sticking to it for today. Going to keep it short and sweet. I didn't even know what I was going to talk about when I started, but I really enjoy when I just, what's happening for me? What's alive for me? And the more I do that, the more I'm in flow, the more, it's another example, just like allowing and trusting that what we need will come through and flow and present itself in the perfect moment. And you just, like I talk about in the Golden Key, you get into that deep level of trusting the mystery. That's the sweet spot. When you arrive there, when you are orienting yourself to the infinite, you have such trust in the process. You are a raging success. And anyone tuning into this broadcast, you're right there. This is such a close reflection of you. You're ready. If you haven't done it, or you're already experimenting with doing it. Maybe sometimes you're successful at it, sometimes you're not. Doesn't matter. This is all of our it's our destiny. It's inevitable that we land here more fully on firmer ground. It's just our process, and it's a beautiful one. So thankful to be sharing it with each and every one of you. With that being said, I do have a song to leave you with today. I think this one is a perfect one to choose that I've just been listening to in the last few days. Lucky One by La Force. Beautiful song. Have a beautiful day. Have a beautiful night. Have a beautiful moment. Till next time, journey well.
When you said I was a lucky one, did you mean compared to them? Here up top, till the penny drops and I lose everything. Did I forget wishing I began? We were born to win. In the vertigo of lady luck, safe from pain in my own skin, safe from pain in my own skin. Don't you forget what's simple and what's small, 'cause we used to get obsessed about it all. Don't you forget what's simple and what's small, 'cause we used to get obsessed about it all. When you said I was a lucky one,